British Prime Minister Theresa May faces another key test over plans to pull out of the European Union. The House of Lords will today debate proposals for a so-called meaningful vote. That's the role that the Parliament will play if MPs reject the exit deal May negotiates, or if she fails to reach a deal at all. Where talks between the Prime Minister and pro-EU rebels on another compromise broke down last week at the last minute, leaving two similar but different proposals on the table. Pro-EU ministers are holding out for more, threatening to bring down the government. Both houses of Parliament must agree on the final wording before it can become law. Now, joining me to explain more about Britain's Brexit problem is our correspondent, Alistair Sanford. Alistair, how big of a problem is the government in?
It's in a bit of a bind. This is all part of the roller coaster ride that the Brexit legislation is currently undergoing through Parliament. This is the actual bill that will take the UK out of the EU. It's before the House of Lords today. The crucial vote comes in the House of Commons on Wednesday, the lower house, the elected chamber. The government, of course, is on a knife edge in Parliament with a very small majority. These divisions between the hard and soft Brexit go across all parties, making everything very uncertain. Concerning Parliament's meaningful vote on the outcome of the negotiations, now the pro-EU Tory rebels, they say they want stronger parliamentary powers to deal with this situation where there might be no agreement, to avoid what they say would be the chaos of no deal. The government says that would completely bind their hands and undermine their negotiations. It could even overturn Brexit, and what they're proposing is more of a symbolic vote for Parliament. Now, why is this important? Because the greater Parliament's role, the more chances of a softer Brexit. But there's a dispute over the compromise plan, the wording of the text, and the rebels are warning that the government could ultimately be brought down over this. Now, this is all internal wrangling, quite separate from the wider question, of course, of negotiations with the EU itself.
Yeah, indeed. And we've been talking about that upcoming summit, a very important one with a lot of key issues. Now, is this Brexit row is threatening to boil over into that discussion?
Well, yes, the negotiations on Britain's future relations with the EU are ongoing, but certainly the UK government is very sidetracked with all this domestic trouble. But the EU wants answers on what Britain's proposals are for the future trade relationship, for the Northern Irish border, never mind all the other issues. The danger is the details could get kicked down the road again to October, and that's becoming very close to when the deal itself is expected to be finalised and then ratified, because Britain is due to leave the EU in March next year.
Indeed it is. Thank you very much for that, Alistair Sanford.